Has anyone ever volunteered for something and wondered what they really volunteered for later? I did that too, twice. I volunteered to join the Army, not knowing what I was doing, why I was joining the Army. I knew why, but I had no idea what I was getting into. And I volunteered to be a paratrooper. I wanted to be a paratrooper because I just wanted to jump out of airplanes. It was a way to get to learn how to jump out of airplanes, to experience it, and I felt that the Army was qualified to do just that. So, after basic training, I was sent off to jump school. Now, jump school is 3 weeks long. You have your first week, which is your ground week, your second week, which is your tower week, and then your third week is your jump week. Now, your first week of jump school, your ground week, you have to build up your muscles. There's 5 points of contact you learn that you have to make in order to make a jump. You first hit on the ball of your feet, then your calf, then your thighs, your side there, your buttocks, then your deltoid muscles there. So everything you do in jump school, in the first week of jump school, is going to be to build those muscles up. They're going to have you running. They say if you go 1 step, you hop. If you go 2 steps, you run. And if you don't do it right, you get down and give me 20 push-ups, building up your muscles again. So the first week we're doing PT. I'm doing my running, doing my jumping, doing my hopping, because I was taking 1 steps a lot of times. I was doing all those things, building up my muscles. And there's also training. They want to teach you how to wear the harness. Because when you come out of the airplane, you're going to really feel that harness in you, or yourself in that harness. And so they want to prepare you for that. So they have these 34-foot towers. Now this is still the first week. And in these towers, they would have you in your harness to get you in the habit of wearing this harness. And then what they'll do is just kind of have you kind of oscillating back and forth about 34 feet up. And they'll kind of let you down and then just let you go. And they've taught you now how to jump, how to do your 5 points of contact. You hit the ground, you come down, you hit those different muscles and roll over and play dead if you have to, whatever the case. So we do that. And then they'll take you to towers again, and they'll have a tower go from one end all the way over and then drop you. So in case, your parachute is in a gust of wind, they take you and you want to get used to that. So you're going through that, how to feel the oscillation back and forth in your parachute, and then how to feel the impact. Because when you're coming out of the sky, we're coming from 1,250 feet, mind you. When you come down at about treetop level, that's when you start to prepare for your landing. But it's going to be like jumping off maybe a balcony of a one-story building maybe, and that's going to be the impact of it. So you see people, they can make those stand-up landings, but they have different type of parachutes for that. It's called a Dash 1 parachute, where you control a little bit better, and you pull your risers down. That's those strings that's hanging you, holding you onto the parachute. You kind of pull the risers down, you kind of let them go to absorb some of the shock, is what happens. It is something because when I was jumping, before I was jumping out of planes, I also wondered, did it actually pull you back up in the air? Because when I would watch the different television programs, you would see all of a sudden the camera and you see the guys go back up. And I'll tell you how that happens. So anyways, we get to the second week now, and now there's more of the towers. They re-emphasize the PT, physical training, to build up your muscles. You're doing the towers. Now they have another tower which is 250 feet high. Now this tower is going to get you into two things. Experiencing what it is to be having suspended in your parachute up in the air, and also to know what 100 feet is, and that's where you're going to prepare to land. So what this tower is, you're strapped to a parachute and it takes you up 250 feet, and then it's a full canopy parachute, and they let you go, and then you can pull in your risers to kind of guide your way down. So you want to get in the habit of that because you want to make sure that you're facing the wind when you get ready to land, so you can kind of control yourself. And so you're in this parachute, you're coming down, and then they say 100 feet is treetop level. Of course, there's no trees out there, so you have no way of gauging that. So you're coming down and you prepare your landing, and now you do your landing so you can see, okay, I saw what it's like, I did this landing, now I've really experienced a landing in a parachute. So now I went through my second week. Now, the third week, I have to make 5 jumps. In order to be airborne qualified, you have to make 5 jumps. Now, we've learned things before you get on the plane. You learn each time they reemphasize what are the hazards. What happens in case there's water down below? We're supposed to be dropping in the middle of a desert, but what if they miss and there's water? What do? Well, in that case, you want to prepare for water landing. Get ready to come out of your parachute. Just hang on just in case it's not that deep. And when you start to go into the water, if it's deep enough, then you want to let it go. Let your parachute go, and you want to swim upstream so the parachute's not going to take you down. Otherwise, you want to go ahead and land because it's not really deep. What happens if you go into electrical wires? After you pray, you want to bounce back and forth to make sure you don't hit 2 wires at the same time. And then, of course, there's also a situation when I went in, which is some time ago, you can tell, I weighed 125 pounds. If your static line doesn't pull you away from the plane, now they have you slamming on the side of the plane. And they'll kind of look back to see you. And what the signal is, you put one hand on top of your helmet, the other on your reserve parachute, to say, okay, you can let me go. I've been an idiot long enough. And then they'll cut you loose, and then you have to pull your reserve parachute. Otherwise, they will foam the runway and land with you bouncing along the way.
Oh my gosh.
So I did make my 5 jumps. I jumped out of airplanes, I jumped out of helicopters, I jumped out of jets. And I survived, and that's how I became airborne.